Hello students, in this video we will be discussing the concepts related to Unit 2, that is solutions. Before starting with the topic, let me tell you what are the uses of knowing about solutions or why it is very important to know about it. When I say solutions, you have a picture of salt solution, sugar solution. I'll not go with it. However, those are examples of solutions. Say, if you consider alloy, alloys means mixture of metals to form a particular, say, a homogeneous mixture, you say, again they come under solutions itself. Say bronze, German silver, all those, since you have studied all those, there you know the mixture of two metals results in the homogeneous mixture called as alloys. Otherwise, say, in the medicinal fields also lots of solutions are used. 1 ppm, ppm is parts per million. It is a way of knowing the concentration of solutions. 1 ppm of fluoride ions, 1 ppm of fluoride ions are used to prevent tooth decay. In dentistry, they use 1 ppm of, ppm is very minute quantity, we will learn about it. It is used in dentistry to prevent tooth decay. If it increases to 1.5 ppm, why we are particular about it is, if it increases to about 1.5 ppm, it results in the mottling of teeth. It harms the teeth. So you can understand the difference now of how much this particular solutions, its concentration terms play an important role. Even higher concentration of fluorides, say for example sodium fluoride, is also used in rat poisons. Rat poisons it is used. So why I am telling this is because if we know the concentrations, we will know its uses also. If we know about the particular solutions, we will know of its uses. And the intravenous injections, whichever will be given, it will be seen that the salts of a particular concentration is prepared so that it suits the blood plasma. It is similar to blood plasma, otherwise it will lead to some other problems. These are some examples which I have given. In general, to speak, solutions play a very important role in our day-to-day life. So we will start studying about solutions now. If I have to tell you the definition of solutions, we say these are homogeneous mixtures. Solutions constitutes what? It constitutes solute plus solvent. Yes, it is a homogeneous mixture, we say. When we say solutions are homogeneous mixtures, what does that mean? That means homogeneous here means that the properties and composition are uniform. Properties and composition are uniform. This is what it means, right? So what are solutions? Solutions are homogeneous mixtures of two or more components. They are homogeneous mixtures of two or more components. Now in sugar solution, which are the components? Sugar and water are the components. Salt solution, salt is one, that is sodium chloride is one component, water is one more component. And which one do you call as solvent and which one do you call as solute here? Every time when I say solvent, it need not be a liquid only which is a solvent. It can be a solid or gas also which is a solvent, yes. So it's quite confusing, is it? We'll learn a table where it becomes clear to you of what I'm telling. Solvent are those which is present in larger quantity. What is it? Solvent is defined as the component present in larger or large quantity in solution is called as solvent. The component present in large quantity in the solution is called as solvent. And what will be the solute? The component present other than solvent is called as solute. Clear of what is a solution? Solution is a homogeneous mixture of two or more components where it contains solute and solvent. The one present in large quantity is solvent. The other component other than solvent is called as solute. Now in this unit we will be mainly concentrating on binary solutions. We'll be concentrating on binary solutions. And you know what are binary solutions? Binary, bi means two. The solutions containing two components. The solutions containing two components are called as binary solutions. We will study some examples for it. Types, solute, solvent, example. There are different types of solution. We have gaseous solution, liquid solutions and solid solutions. How? Because solvent will be determining the physical state of solution. Remember this point. Which determines the physical state of solution? Solvent determines physical state of solution. Now say alloy, metals, alloys, mixture of two metals. Do you have a liquid in it? No, both are solids. So are you getting the point? They are called as solid solutions. If both are liquid, you call it as liquid solution. It need not be like both are liquid. If solvent is a liquid, whereas solute is solid, liquid or gas, you call it as liquid solution. If it is a gas in which you are treating solid, liquid or gas, since it is a gas, the whole solution is called as gaseous solution likewise. First we will study gaseous solutions. First type which we study is gaseous solution. So what will be the solvent? Three possibilities we will write. Solvent is gas in all the three cases. Then we call it as gaseous solution, isn't it? And the possibility of solute, it can be a gas, liquid or solid. A gas, liquid or solid. Now what is it? Let us consider the solvent being a gas, whereas solute is gas, liquid or solid. Example, both are gases, mixture of oxygen and nitrogen. Here oxygen is a gas, nitrogen is a gas. Both forms which form of solution, which type of solution? Gaseous solution. One is liquid, one is gas. Chloroform in nitrogen gas. Chloroform. Chloroform. What is the formula? CHCl3. Chloroform dissolved in nitrogen gas. Example. Solid and a gas. Camphor. Camphor in nitrogen gas is an example. Camphor is the naphthalene ball thing. Camphor in nitrogen gas is an example for this type of solution. So we know some examples for gaseous solution where solvent must be gas. If we have to call it as a gaseous solution, solvent must be a gas, whereas solute can be a gas, liquid or solid. And examples however you know. The next type of solution which we study is liquid solution. Liquid solution. If we have to call it as liquid solution, then the solvent part must be liquid only. The one which is present in large quantity must be liquid. Here the possibilities are gas or liquid or solid. What can be the examples? Here liquid, say we will take water as an example for the solvent. Then gas, oxygen dissolved in water. It is a liquid solution. Oxygen is a gas, water is a liquid. Liquid and liquid, the most common and favorite example, ethanol. Ethanol in water, or ethanol dissolved in water, or solution of ethanol in water. Solid and liquid, sugar solution. Say glucose dissolved in water. Water is an example. Clear? Of gaseous solution, of liquid solution. The next type is solid solution. Solid solution, again the three possibilities are solvent must be solid only, whereas solute can be a gas, liquid or a solid, isn't it? Here gas and solid, hydrogen in palladium solution. Hydrogen in palladium solution. Hydrogen is gas, palladium is a solid. Liquid and solid. Liquid is amalgam of mercury. Mercury is Hg in sodium. Amalgam of mercury. Mercury exists in liquid state, whereas sodium is in solid state. So solid solution means amalgam of mercury, which is liquid, is dissolved in solid. So solid is present in large quantity, and that is why it is example for solid solution. Next, both are solid. Say copper dissolved in gold. Copper dissolved in gold is an example for solid solutions. If you have noted, we can move further. So these are different types of binary solutions. There are possibilities of asking some examples here. At least understand the types of solution. Since we were speaking about solutions, we know that concentration of solution matters. So how do we express the concentration of solutions? How do we express the concentration of these solutions? Concentration expressions of solutions. Important. So why it is very important to express the concentration of solution is because if we know the concentration of the solutions, we can describe the composition of solution easily. What can we describe? We can describe the composition of solution. Why it is helpful? Composition of solutions can be described. That is why we will have to know about the different concentration terms. There are two ways of representing or expressing the concentration. One is qualitative way, and the other one is quantitative way. Which ways we can represent? One is qualitative and the other one is quantitative. Qualitative means we speak about its quality. Concentration means we say whether a solution is dilute or whether a solution is concentrated. Dilute means qualitatively how we can represent dilute solution, concentrated solution we say. We are just speaking about its quality, whether it is a dilute one or a concentrated one. Dilute one means what? Less amount of solute is present. Less amount of solute if it is present, more solvent is present, we call it as dilute. Concentrated means more solute is present in the given amount of solvent. Then we say concentrated. So yes, this particular one helps us to know of how the nature of the solution is, whether it is dilute one, whether it is concentrated one. But for most of the processes, like how I had explained earlier, we need to know its composition exactly. If you have to know the composition exactly or quantitatively, we will have to go for quantitative way of expressing the concentration. And that is why in quantitative way of expressing concentration, we have different expressions here, which one by one we will be studying. The first way is mass percentage. First one is mass percentage, which we also denote as W by W. This means W is relative to mass. Mass percentage means you will be checking out what is the total mass of the solution, and in that how much mass of the solute is present. That is mass percentage. So it is defined as, for a particular component, if you have to define mass percentage of a component is equal to mass of the component in the solution divided by total mass of the solution, and since you have percentage into 100. So what is it? If you have one particular component, if you want to find mass percentage of that component, then that mass, or how much mass of that component you have taken, that divided by total mass of solution. When you say total mass of solution, it includes both of solute as well as solvent into 100. Now for example, you say 10% of glucose solution by mass. 10% glucose solution. So you say mass percentage of glucose solution is 10%. What does that tell you? That tells that if it is mass percentage, it is telling you that 10 gram is glucose and 90 gram, 10 gram is glucose, then remaining it is out of 100. Out of 100 gram, 10 gram is glucose, then what will be the remaining part of solvent? So hope it is clear, isn't it? Here 10% of glucose, that is mass percentage, means total it is 100 gram of the solution. In 100 gram, how much is the solute? 10 gram of it is solute. The rest of the part is solvent. So 10 gram of solute plus 90 gram of solvent constitutes 100 gram of solution. That is what it means, okay? Into 100. This is how the calculation will be done. Hope it is clear. The next one is volume percentage. Volume percentage is given as V by V. Again here it was in terms of mass. Here it is in terms of volume percentage. Volume percentage means volume percentage of a component is equal to volume of that component in the solution divided by total volume of the solution into 100. Clear? So what is it? Volume percentage of a component means the volume, how much volume of that particular component, say solute, you have taken, divided by total volume of the solution. For example, if I say 20% of ethanol solution by volume, 20% of ethanol solution by volume, what does it mean? It means out of 100 ml it is volume. That means both solute is also in volume, solution is also in volume. Here mass of solute is in mass, solute is also in terms of mass, and solution also is in terms of mass. Here both are in terms of volume. So here 20% means out of 100 ml solution, 20 ml is alcohol, 20 ml is ethanol, and rest how many part? If 20 ml is ethanol, remaining 80 ml will be solvent, 80 ml water is present. This is what it means, okay? So volume of that component means 20 by 20 plus 80, isn't it? 20 by 100 into 100. 20 ml we have taken the component, that is solute, then out of 100 into 100, like that. So we get how much volume percentage of that component is present in the solution. This is one more way of representing the concentration. The next way is mass by volume percentage. You have studied of molarity, isn't it? There again, mass by volume percentage we see. Mass by volume percentage, we usually denote it as M by V. Where this particular one is used, you know, here it means mass of, now if you say 10% of glucose, that means here it is mass in terms of mass, here it is in terms of ml. Solution is in terms of ml, but solute is mentioned in terms of mass. If I say 10% glucose, that means 10 gram of sugar dissolved in 100 ml of solution. That means 10 gram will be solute, remaining solution, that is solvent, is added. That is what it means. Required amount of solvent is added. So where this particular one, in pharmacy and in the preparation of medicines, they usually go for mass by volume percentage. There it is used. Next is parts per million. Parts per million, or in short we call it as ppm. Parts per million means in a million part, one part of it. Like that it means. So how do you define parts per million? Number of parts of the component, number of parts of the component divided by total number of parts of solution, since it is million parts, into 10 to the power 6. You know where it is used? Parts per million is usually used when you have trace quantities or minute quantities of substance to measure. Trace quantity, I mean to say. Trace or minute quantity can be expressed in terms of parts per million. Usually, like say in the ocean, how much parts of oxygen is dissolved in the sea water? Very small quantity will be present. So you say ppm, in terms of ppm you can represent it. Or the pollutants present in the atmosphere, minute quantity of the pollutant means again in ppm we can mention it. There I had told you about fluoride ions, isn't it? 1 ppm is used to prevent tooth decay, but 1.5 ppm will mottle the tooth, that is, it is harmful for the teeth. Likewise, for trace quantities we use ppm, which is number of parts of component by total number of parts of solution into 10 to the power 6. That is parts per million. Next comes mole fraction. Mole fraction. You know what is mole and how to calculate number of moles also. Given mass by molar mass. Mole fraction is denoted as X. Mole fraction is denoted as X, and if you have to mention the component, we use a subscript here to mention that particular component of whose mole fraction you are mentioning. Fraction of the mole. Whose mole fraction you are mentioning, no, that component is written as the subscript here. Clear? If suppose there are two components, A and B are the two components in a solution. These are constituting the solution. Then mole fraction of A is equal to, this A represents what? The component of whose mole fraction we are defining. X represents mole fraction or denotes mole fraction. It is the mole fraction of any component, or say mole fraction of a component. So I'll just generally write it in words. Mole fraction of a component is defined as number of moles of that component divided by total number of moles in the solution, this gives you mole fraction. So if you want to measure the mole fraction of one particular component, then you have to see how many number of moles of it is present in total number of solution. For example, let me tell you, if I have told you A and B, so number of moles of AB, Na, number of moles of BB, Nb. Number of moles is Na, number of moles is Nb. Then if I have to find mole fraction of component A, then mole fraction of A is number of moles of that component Na divided by total number of moles in the solution, means number of moles of A as well as number of moles of B. Clear now? If you have to calculate mole fraction of B, how do you calculate? Number of moles of that component B divided by total number of moles in the solution. And always remember, now if suppose you have many components in it, 1, 2, 3 till I you have, I components you have, then x1 plus x2 plus x3 so on up to xi will always be equal to 1. That means the mole fraction will always be equal to 1. If you take two components, that means xa, mole fraction of that component plus mole fraction of one more component B will always be equal to 1. So how can you write this equation as? We can write it as, if xa you have to get the answer or you have to define it or give expression for it, it is 1 minus xb, taking xb to the other hand. If you have to write the expression for xb, mole fraction of B is equal to 1 minus mole fraction of A. Remember this one. Okay, so this is about one more way of representing the concentration term, that is mole fraction. Next is molarity. Molarity we know, we have studied in the first year as well, yet we will go through it. Next one is molarity. It is also denoted by capital letter M. Yes. What is molarity? Molarity is defined as number of moles of solute in volume of solution in liters, right? So here what are we taking? We will be taking number of moles of the solute divided by volume of solution in liters. Now for example, how many moles of solute are present in 1 liter of solution? That gives 1 molar of solution. The unit you know, since it is number of moles, mole. Here it is liter, mole by liter. So we write mole per liter is the unit for molarity. Molality. Molality is denoted as small letter m. How do you define it? Number of moles of solute, again same, numerator is same, but in the denominator it is mass of solvent, only the solvent. Here volume of solution, solution means solute plus solvent, but here it is volume, mass of solvent in kg. Again, if you go with the unit, here it is mole by kg. So unit is mole per kg, or you can write 1 molar solution. So if you must know the difference between molality and molarity. Now what is the important point to remember? Among all these, wherever it is volume dependent, wherever you see the terms volume dependent, then they will be depending on temperature. They will be depending on temperature. So you must know that among say parts per million, mole fraction, molarity, molality, the one which depends on temperature is molarity. Make a point that molarity depends on temperature. The reason is because volume depends on temperature and it has a volume term here. Whereas in mole fraction, molality, mass percentage, you don't see volume term, so they are temperature independent. These are all temperature independent, whereas molarity is temperature dependent. Clear now? Next, moving on to a very important concept further. These were all about related to expression of the concentrations. Next is solubility. Solubility. What do you mean by solubility? When we speak about solutions, yes, the concept of solubility is very important there. Solubility in general, we know it's nothing but a given amount of solute dissolving in a given amount of solvent at particular temperature. So how do you define solubility? Amount of substance that gets dissolved in given amount of solvent at given temperature is the definition for solubility. Solubility is, it is the amount of solute dissolved in the given, or say specified, than mentioning given, you can use a term specified amount of solvent. Why you say specified? There you will be knowing that how much solvent you are taking. Say in this much of solvent, say in 1 liter of solvent, how much solute was dissolved. So when we speak like that, we can tell about its solubility. So we say in the specified amount of solvent at the specified temperature. At specified temperature is called solubility. Is called solubility. Now what does it depend on? What does the solubility depends on? It depends on the nature of solute. It depends on the nature of solvent and conditions like temperature and pressure. So what we have to check out, if we have to know about solubility, we should know nature of solute. We must know nature of solvent and conditions like temperature and pressure. If we know these, we can explain the solubility of these particular any solutions. So about solute or solubility, we'll be studying in the next video.